Hello everyone. It is Thursday, not my usual day, and I'm here. You're here. So we might as well see what I was able to get accomplished, which looks like a lot, but technically is not a lot because it's all mainly small stuff. The first of the month, my smalls got hit really hard, so I've been wanting to make bigger things, trying to make a few bigger things, but restocking my smaller stuff that was hit hard. And, of course, making a few new things. What would my week be without a new pattern, right? Anyhow, so we started off with making some more of the ducks from that free Instagram pattern from Cozy Friend Creations, and I changed my color on the mallards just so that I had some stuff that looked different but the same. So I did a couple of these in steel cut oats and emerald green. I tried Heather's suggestion. She suggested that on the wing to do the last round in white so that it kind of blended where you attach it with the neck. So I tried that on these, and I like how it looks compared to the other way. So it kind of blends better, but this is the original colors I was using, and so this is to have a different look. So I did two like this, and during mine and Heather's live on Monday, I made one in yellow. So that gives me two of the teal colored and darker brown mallards, two like this, one of these in mystical and one in just plain yellow. I doubt I'll get any more of them done before tomorrow night's market, but technically all this prepping is going for the November 7th market. I have completed one of the custom orders that I was supposed to do. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was at the moment. Oh, the platypus. And I need to get on the other ones because November 7th is closing in on me. Anyhow, so after I did those, I decided to move on to some Pokemon because the Pokemon were hit real hard. And I did some that are remakes, some that are new, that came in the last pattern package that I purchased. So I was able to get one Squirtle. I've got fluff all over the place because I was sitting here crocheting and stuffing Monday night. So I got one Squirtle done. This one is a remake. And two Bulbasaur. These are also a remake. I wanted to try to have at least two of each, but I don't think that's going to happen. It might. I still have time before November 7th, but I have so many other things that I need to get to. I did one Charmander, and this is a remake. Now, this one was not the fastest of sellers. It took a while for the first one to sell. So I wasn't overly concerned with having two of these. So I did one. And then of the new ones out of the new package at my not so hot market, the only Pokemon that sold, and that was 2 weeks ago, was the evolution of Leafeon. So I made another Leafeon. I was supposed to use the darker brown on the feet. But that one is so much thicker than the other yarn than this that I was like, let me just go with the chocolate. So I think it still looks cute. I was able to get 2 of these done because it was the one to go at my extremely slow market last time. So we have 2 of these, and then in that package that I bought, the Evolutions package, there were a couple of others that I had not gotten to yet. I don't remember their names. There's so many. But there's this yellow one. Now, this one and the next one, they both have this collar on it. And when you shrink down, decrease down to make the head, or the neck, I mean, you're supposed to do it in the back loop and leave the front loops open to put this on. And I had a very hard time finding those front loops to make it. So I ended up just making a chain to make it the right amount, the stitch count come out right. Following her stitch pattern, and then just wrapping it around the neck and attaching it. It made it go a lot easier for me because I was really, really struggling with finding those front loops. And then there was this one. Same scenario with the neck ruffle. This one is no-sew if you follow her pattern. Now, because I changed the neck piece, I had a tiny little bit to sew. The spikes, I guess you would call them, these things, and on the back, those are surface crocheted. This you have to sew the bulb on. This you have to sew the shell on. Everything else is done in the round. And this is no-sew. And this one is no-sew with just a little bit of surface crochet. So this one's like a water fox or something. This one you sew on these fins. And this is surface crocheted. The tail is sewn in the round. Oh my goodness, there's just fluff everywhere. But, I mean, it's kind of cute. It was not the easiest one. It could use some cleanup around the eyes, which I think would make it look a whole lot better. When you have those color changes with a very dark color next to a very light color, it really stands out. But anyways, of all of these, I would say these 2 were my least favorite to make, only because they were just a little bit harder. They weren't as easy as the other ones were, but it's all good. It is all good. So we have 2, 4, 6. We made 8 Pokemon. And those are all from Beck Made Studios. One was a package, one I've bought, a pattern here and there. Then I started to make something and I stopped. I just wasn't in the mood. And I decided I wanted to make a dragon. So I did. I made Shannon's, one of her newest. She has more from Snuggle Beans Crochet. Her, oh my goodness, that was a hair. That's so gross. I think it's a hair. No, it's a long piece of polyfill. Let me cut it. There we go. Okay, so this is Shannon's Eden Dragon. Now, these are not necessarily my colors of choice, but I wanted to use the plush yarn to give my hands a break from the blanket yarn. So I went with the colors that I had available in the Parfait Plush. And I needed 3 colors that would go well together. I was going to use Shell, but then it was going to look too close to the color of that dragon back there, and I needed it to be different. So I used the blues. 3 shades of blue. This is the back. He's a splooter, so his head is floppy, with long wings and a long tail. So he ends up really long. And this, I did use the 35mm eyes. Normally, I probably would have used a 30 on this size, but I thought I ordered or got in, I don't know what I ordered now, color discs for 30mm, but I did not order 30mm eyes, but I had a few pairs left over, but no color discs. So I went to use the 30s and the discs were too big, which was a good problem because I did order a small quantity of 35mm eyes, but no color discs. So I have color disc for the 35s. So I'll have to, I do need some 30s because I do use those occasionally. I would have swore I ordered them. AliExpress is confusing because everything opens in a new window. But anyways, so we did this, and this took me some time. I got the head, the horns, the ears, the arms, all of that made pretty quickly. Then you start at the bottom of the tail, work your way up into the body. The front legs get crocheted in, the head gets crocheted on. You have to sew on the horns and the ears. You do sew on the little back legs there. You have to sew on the wings. And then you surface crochet. You can either use fur for this or your regular yarn. I chose to use my regular yarn and make the little humps. I had fur, but I didn't have a color that I wanted to use to go with this, and you make that separate. It gets sewed on to the tip of the tail. But this ended up taking me a lot more time than I anticipated. So there is an optional chest plate, and I was debating, and then I decided, no, I'm not going to do the chest plate. I already have too much time invested in this, but I got my urge to make a dragon out of the way. So, this is Eden from Snuggle Beans Crochet. And again, blue was not my color of choice. It was just what happened to be available. And so far, I am enjoying working with the plush yarn. Now, it does still shed some, but nothing like Sweet Snuggles Light Shed or the Home Slim. Nothing like that. And it does frog a little better than the Sweet Snuggles and the Home Slim. So then I was watching videos, and everybody is making Crochet Grove's new pattern. And I've looked at it and I thought, oh, I don't know. It's so cute, but it has to hang off the shelf, and I don't know. And I kept trying to talk myself out of it. But then seeing all these people making it, and it just, the more I see it, the cuter it is. So I caved. And I bought the pattern. So I made one goose. I know you guys don't like seeing me pick the fluff off, but when you get in this light, you see all these things that you don't see in regular lighting. So it sits on the shelf like this and hangs over the edge. It is fairly easy to do. Annabelle's patterns are very easy to read. The hardest part for me was you sew on the little wings and you sew on the feet, was trying to get them even and make them look right. So I think I did okay. And I used the Posh to make the little bow. I didn't quite have a blue. This is mint green. It's fine. Pattern says use blue, but you can use whatever color you want. So I got one made. I would like to have a few more. I don't know how well they would sell. This reminds me of, I want to say in the 80s. I think it was the 80s. Might have been late. Yeah, it had to be the 80s. When you had all the dinner plates and kitchen dining room decor with the goose with you guys know what I'm talking about. Actually, John still has a couple of plates from his mother's dish set that he just won't part with. But that's what this kind of reminds me of. And it is cute, just like it hangs over the shelf. For like nursery decor, I think this would be adorable. It would definitely have to be a decor. You couldn't, because of the safety eyes, you couldn't give it to the small child, but you could always embroider the eyes instead of doing the safety eyes. Personally, I like the safety eyes better, the look of it. But anyways, it was reasonably fast. I mean, it's not a 15-minute make, but I think after the first one, and now you know what to expect and what you're doing, they can be done in an hour or less, I think. Now, this is Parfait Chunky, so it is kind of small. I would love, and I probably will try it, but I'm not going to have time before tomorrow's market, in Parfait Plush. I don't know if Chenille Brights, how that would look with this, because that I know Chenille Brights would get it to a nice size. And I don't have the proper colors in Bernat to try and use that. I'm very limited on Bernat colors, so, because I only hung on, well, I didn't get rid of, I boxed up and stuck in a closet all the stiff Bernat and only kept out the softer Bernat that I know that I can work with a little bit at a time to use it up and clear it out. But this is a sweet looking little duck, or goose, not duck. It's very cute, very, very. So I do like this. I will be making more of these. And I jumped on the bandwagon with everybody else. And it's funny because I was watching Karen from Yarn and Whimsy in her last video. Like, she showed some of these Pokemon. She did the same duck pattern. She did Chonkymon, which I've done. She had quite a few that I already did, but she tried Annabelle's duck, or see, there I go, wanting to call it a duck again, goose pattern. And I was sitting there making it while watching. I just thought it was pretty funny how we all tend to kind of gravitate towards the same type of things. So that hopefully means it's a good thing, that that's going to be a winner for an item. So then I have a subscriber that is looking for some items for Christmas, quite a few items. And one of the things they wanted was a panther keychain. And I looked briefly, didn't see anything. And when I responded back, I told her I was pretty sure I could handle all the other items on her list, but that one I was having a little trouble finding a pattern, one that I thought that would work for what she wants. So she went on the hunt. She found a pattern and she linked the pattern to me. So I found this shop through that. And I ended up buying 4 patterns from them, but I've only tried 2 as of yet. So this guy is not completely finished. I just need to attach the keychain hardware, but it is really cute and it's fast. And you could, I mean, the color choices are just, you know, however, like a lot. I just happen to have black and white sitting on my desk where I did not have to get up and make any decisions, so I just used black and white. So this cute little dog is a keychain pattern. And I believe when I bought this, everything in her shop, it was like, if you buy 4 patterns, you get 30% off or something like that. And her patterns were already on sale for 20% off. So this is from Crochet Friends AU. And like I said, I bought 4. I've tried 2. I would like to have more keychains done. Like last market, I didn't even put my keychains out because they're so picked over. So I do need to work on keychains. So I figured I got little mini loaf cat keychains. Why not have little mini dog keychains? So that was one of those. And this pattern here is also from Crochet Friends AU. And this one was the first one I put in my cart. And I was like, well, plus the other pattern for the subscriber. So I had 3 and I'm like, well, what else can I get to make it 4 so that I get the extra discount? So it was like buying 3 and getting 1 free. So I got this gator. It's just something about this gator. I think it's the eyes that made me want to try this pattern. So you're looking at this and you're saying, oh my gosh, look at all the bobble stitches. That'll take forever. Believe it or not, it is super, super quick. These are only 2 double crochet bobbles. So it's half the time on the bobble. And it's every other row. So it's, you know, you do a round that has the bobbles in it. The next round is single crochet. It's all done in the round. There is absolutely no sewing whatsoever on this unless you call closing up the tail sewing. It's got the little feet done in the round. The nose, the eyes, that's all done in the round. I just thought it was cute. I actually have another one of these on my hook because I think it's cute enough that I need to have more than one displayed. 3 would be the optimal, you know, odd numbers. It just looks better. But if I can get 2, I'd be happy with that. But I think on my hook, I just finished the head and I'm getting ready to start, you know, where the bobbles are is where I'm at on the other one. But I think it's really cute and it really is a good size. My crushed soda can. I mean, it's tall. It's not as big as like Chompers, and it's definitely way faster than Chompers. And I think I did not time myself, but I really think this can be done in less than an hour, and that it could have at least a $20 price tag on it. But I really like it. It's the eyes. The eyes just make that face look so cute. And then this, it's actually a crocodile, not an alligator, but everybody will call it an alligator. So I have that with one on my hook. Now I just have 2 more things to show you. It's actually the same thing, but 2 different ones. So yesterday, well, last weekend, John and Jenna went camping just for a day, you know, 2 days, 1 night. And Jenna and I didn't go with them, but while she was here, Jenna and I were talking, and she's kind of a little bummed because, it's kind of like going off to college and you gain the weight. Well, since she moved out and moved in with her boyfriend, everything is based around food. She has put on some weight, and she's like, Mom, I weigh more than I ever have in my life. And I was like, Jenna, you know what? Me too. If you want to go walking again, I would be more than happy to walk with you. And just to get up and get moving and, get out of the house, get some fresh air so that it's not all work, home, and food. So she saw some pictures of herself, and she gave me a call, and she says, what days do you want to walk, Mom? Not even taking into consideration that, the camera adds pounds. You aren't actually as big as the camera is showing you to be. So I just asked her back, what days are you available for? And she's like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. And then I was like, okay, well, why don't we start with Monday, Wednesday, Saturday? And that way we get a break in between. Because you have to build up to this. Because when you get out there, you want to walk briskly. You want to have distance. You want to do it for, like we have an hour time frame that we try to do it in. So anyways, long story short, me and my heaviest self and her and what she calls her heaviest self, we went for our first walk yesterday. We walked 2+ miles in a little over an hour. And I was at a slow pace because I told her, I'm old now. You got to give me a little grace here. It'll take me some time to build up to this. So we weren't walking extremely fast, but 2 miles an hour, I believe, is the average pace for humans. So we were a little bit above average pace. Because from her apartment, we walked to the park, and then the park has a 1-mile track on it, a hiking path. And so we did 2 laps, so that was 2 miles, and then probably pretty close to a 1/2 mile there and back in just a little bit over an hour, because it was like, I want to say it was like 1 hour and 7 minutes. So we did a decent pace. But we met at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I got home yesterday and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Like I said, I got to build up to this. I am not used to it. So I tried. That's how I have half a gator on my hook. I tried. And it was just like nothing was appealing to crochet. And I'm like, I just want to take a nap. So I went and took a nap. And then when I got up from my nap, I slept a couple of hours for my nap, but my left leg hurt. The muscles were super sore. Now, it feels fine today, but last night, oh my gosh, I was hobbling around. I was like, oh, we overdid it. I can't, nope. But it feels fine today. But last night, I knew that I went out for this long walk. So, yes. Anyways, I was on Instagram, and I saw that Oak and Marlowe has this ostrich, and she did a tester call for it. Well, I didn't apply to test because, honestly, I want to, but I just don't really have the time to be put on a time limit. And I want that ostrich. Well, in order to be able to make the ostrich, you have to have the chicken pattern. So I bought the chicken pattern. And I tried to make a chicken yesterday. So, in the pattern, you can do a chicken, a rooster, a plain yellow duck, or a mallard. I did the chicken, again, because this is Bernat and I don't have all the colors that are needed. So I went with the chicken. And I have just the tiniest little bit of red left that I could do the comb out of, but honestly, I could have used any of the other yarns to do the comb. That wouldn't have mattered. But I wanted to have a little bit of size, so I wanted to use Bernat for these. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I struggled like crazy on these feet. I struggled so bad. I have one leg shorter than the other, a noticeable difference. But unfortunately, I did not notice until after I was all the way up to the head. And I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. I can pull on it. But I really struggled, and it was right at the beginning. So you chain 4, then you're going to work in the back bump and make these little things here. And then you work in the front loop and then the back loop. So you're working in all 3 pieces of the first part of the foot. We all know how hard it is to see the stitches with the blanket yarn sometimes. I could not see the stitches, and at first the instructions did not make sense to me. By the time I did a 3rd foot, because I don't know, I had to change it up to make it work for me. I could not see my stitches. So this one is a little bit wonky. I'm still going to put it out there. Somebody will still love it. I might put a little bit of a reduced price on this one because the legs are wrong. But the rest of it is super easy. I had no problem with the rest of it. It was just getting started on the feet. So what I ended up doing was testing before I made another one on how I can make the feet easier for me. So I figured out a way to do it. And of course, my test leg, I picked up the wrong size hook and I was not able to use that one. But I was able to figure out a way, still using basically her design, but going back and adding the little toe part, or whatever you want to call that, as a surface crochet, and it was much easier for me. So these, they actually took the shape they were supposed to. Like, she has you do some half double crochet increases on the back, like gives it a heel, and the feet curve down. This one didn't do it so much. Like I said, I really struggled with the feet. And the only difference, I mean, I did the toes the same way that she says, but I just did it on the surface rather than trying to do it in the round. I couldn't do it. It was hard. Well, then on her blog, she has all kinds of little accessories. And I was like, all the other ones that I've done this round, they have some type of clothing, like the chicken needs something. Now, had I scrolled all the way down the page, I would have seen, oh, look, we could put him in overalls. Or I could make a tutu and add to him. Or, you know, whatever. I could have added any of the other accessories for the other patterns that I have, and it would fit. But I just wasn't in the mood for crocheting yesterday. So on her blog, she had the little granny square purse, which is very easy to figure out on your own. You don't necessarily need to go to the blog for that. So I gave this chicken a crossbody bag. The other one, because the legs are wonky, and I am probably going to put the reduced price on it, I'm not going to add any accessories to it. So That just seems kind of fair to do it like that. So this went much smoother for me, doing the little toe part with a surface crochet. The feet came out shaped much, much better, closer to how it's supposed to look than my first attempt. I badly wanted to do one of the mallards last night, but I have this. I could have used this. I could have used this on it as well, but for the head color and a darker brown, I mean, it didn't have to be a darker brown. It could have been this with a nice head color. In Bernat, I do not have. I have it in Chenille Brights, but this will come out smaller. So I wanted to use up my Bernat on these and have them be just a little bit bigger, like there's more substance to it. I'm not buying more Bernat. I'm not. I'm going to keep telling myself I am not buying more Bernat. Now, I could have picked nicer colors for the crossbody bag, but rather than dig, because I packed up all my acrylic into totes, I just used from my scrap bin that I had available, whatever colors that were there. And red and white just happened to be the first ones that I grabbed. But I am excited for the ostrich to come out. And I want to do a mallard. Oh, I might have to go look at the stiff stuff. If it's just the head, I might be able to do it. No, I could ice my hands down. Take an Epsom salt bath, you know, soak my hands in some Epsom salt, because that stuff is brutal. It is just brutal. So, Oak and Marlowe chickens, Snuggle Beans Crochet Dragon, a Crochet Friends AU Gator, Beck Made Studio Pokemon, which is what I spent a lot of time on, a Crochet Grove Goose, and that's what we did. Not a whole big variety like I usually do, but sometimes you just got to be in the mood. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, I am going to say goodbye, and there will not be a live this coming Friday because I am at market, but we will have the opportunity the week after to do a live because I get a break in between. Yay, I'm so excited. All right, I'll see you in the next video.